What's up, summoners? King Blair here. Today, we're going to be doing an update discussion. There is so many updates to talk about. We have the new Substat stones, we have expeditions, we have new units, we have speculations on buffs and on skins in the future, we have collab updates, we have Lilibet. There is so much good stuff that just came out today, and I'm just super excited to talk about it with you guys. So hopefully today we'll be covering a lot of the updates, a lot of the new storylines, a little bit of everything, right? Making sure we're covering a little bit of everything, so we can do all of that good stuff. But yeah, so overall, we're going to be doing an update discussion. And also, during the time, if I see an expedition, we are going to do them, and we can talk about my expedition team. I will be doing formal guides on the expeditions later on. I will be doing fire first, then I'll move over to dark, and then lastly to earth. Not bad, actually, and that's something I wanted to talk about. The expeditions are actually not bad at all. It's actually quite easy to do expeditions right now. Hey, what's up, Deeds, and what's up, Huford? Nice to see y'all. Let me also turn on my camera. A lot of exciting stuff. I'm actually pretty hype about the update. I know there's some negative stuff we do have to talk about, of course. You know, I'm not gonna give you guys all positive news. We talk about everything: the good, the bad, the ugly, the potential changes that are gonna come out. That I could definitely see Smilegate talking about, which is why it's important that we also talk about all of these things, because there's a lot of implications with the new system that need to be changed to be made better, and it's important that we're vocal and respectful about it. Talk about the things we like, talk about the things that we don't like, so we can do a lot. And hey, what's up, Don? But yeah, update time. So let's just first go over the patch notes, and that's always what I like to do. Just kind of going over what the update was yesterday, and then we can go in depth talking more about the other things. In the background, let me set up my wyvern so that we can get some expeditions potentially, so we can do that as well. So let me put that in the background, and then we can do some expeditions, because I am obsessed with expeditions now. I'm an expedition main now, which is why I'm excited to actually make the videos. The reason I'm doing it on Sunday is because I want to make sure, I want to talk with people, make sure that I have the teams down. I want to make it a little bit higher quality video than I have done in the past. It's going to be an edited video. It's going to have a lot of stuff. So it's going to be important. That's why it's taking me so long to put the guide out. If not, I could put a guide, quote unquote, a guide by tomorrow, but I actually want to make it a little bit more quality. So that's why it's not going to be coming out till Sunday. But okay, let me open up. Sorry, I'm checking a bunch of stuff right now. Kind of closing some tabs so I have what I want that we're going to be talking about and all that good stuff.
Exterminating?
No scuff thumbnail? Thumbnails always scuff. How many people still do ads for energy? I honestly forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. I kind of want to do those again, because we need so much energy right now. And that's one of the problems we're going to talk about, is going to be energy and farming. But overall, I think we're heading in a good direction. Alright, so first, Lefundis. I have not done the storyline. Please do not spoil it for me. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I am completely chilling right now. So I have my little photo. My thumbnail's kind of trashy, bro. My thumbnails are always bad. Thanks for letting me know. I know it's unless you actually mean it's a good thumbnail. But first, Lefundis. Nothing cool. I haven't done it yet. I'm planning to do it tomorrow when I have a little bit more time. I was kind of busy today. So hopefully we will be able to do it. And I'm excited. You guys know I love story. If you ever want to talk story, let me know. Please don't spoil it yet, because, you know, this may look bad at first, but this sword is actually really good. If it doesn't roll into effectiveness, you can actually change this for speed with the new update. So this sword actually not a bad sword. It looks bad, but it's actually pretty good if you don't roll into effectiveness, of course. But not bad. So that one is nothing crazy. Alright. Kill the game sound. Oh, wait. Can y'all hear the game sound?
Beginning.
Wait. It's muted for me. How can y'all hear the game sound? I apologize for that. Thanks for letting me know, Huford. Yeah, that's kind of weird. It's muted. You guys can see that it's muted. But okay. Thank you for letting me know that y'all can't hear it. Okay, I just muted it for y'all. I just muted all computer sounds. There's no reason for me to show you guys anything. Yeah, that's weird. I thought it wasn't gonna sound, so thank you. But alright, let's actually talk about this one. So this one is a huge update. We're probably gonna spend a majority of the stream talking about this and doing stuff according to this change. I have some gear that I already had changed and some things I want to show for problems, the good, the bad, the ugly. So, okay. This is going to be, I don't want to make it a video. I might make it a video in the future, but a completely different discussion once I gather my thoughts and talk to you guys and see what you guys think. So this will be a really good conversation. Yes, Omri, I can do all expeditions level 3. I will be putting guides throughout the week, right? Hopefully another YouTuber doesn't beat me to it, although I feel like they will. Because I'm not doing it till Sunday because I want to make a quality video and I don't have time to do it tomorrow. So hopefully no other YouTuber beats me to doing these full guides that I'm planning to do for the expeditions. But even if they do, I'll still put mine out. I'll put my 2 cents on it. You kind of like hearing Karen, yeah. That's why I actually built her. But okay, this is supposed to be a discussion. The new equipment Substat change. I want to hear y'all's thoughts as well as I want to say what I think about it, right? Also, Konosiji, I am going to wait next week to pull for Emma a little bit. I will pull for her. I will try to get her, but I'm not going to do it till the banner is a little bit better. Grass Angel did, but some of them are outdated. I want to do it with the updated discussion. I want to make it really, really good. It's going to be clean. It's going to be PowerPoint discussions. We're going to be looking at like mechanics. It's going to be great. Trust me, if it goes the way I expect it to, Sunday's going to be great. But okay, let's talk about this equipment Substat change. So let's just talk what it is first. Then we'll talk about what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then show you guys examples of both the like and the dislike. Right? So first, players will be able to change the substat of an equipment that is plus 15. That's pretty cool. That's actually really, really good. It uses 1, and it can increase equipment's efficiency, right? It actually does help a lot in the right types of gear. So, of course, it has to be plus 15. This does work on any level gear. It doesn't matter what level it is. As long as it's plus 15, this will work, right? So, as long as it's plus 15, it's chilling. So, that part is amazing. The gold cost is not crazy. You're not going to be doing this all the time. It's decently high, though. 100K is nothing to laugh at. That's actually like, if you want to put it in terms of like shop refreshes, that's almost a Covenant bookmark right there. So this is almost a Covenant bookmark from refreshing shop, which is not, it's not light. So it's not super cheap, but it's not bad either. But that's the cost of it. Nothing crazy, but it does add to the code name. And hey, what's up, Etzrin, and what's up, Asim? So that part is cool. How it works, you probably have already seen it. You can click on the gear, you can modify it. I'll show you guys if you haven't seen it before. And you get these little stones, you can change it and be able to do whatever you want. Very fitting that they showed it a health piece, because that's almost what I always feel like I'm getting. It's like all these random sets and not the sets I want. But when you do it, you can modify the stat. You pick the stat you want to change, and it changes it according to a proportion of the max stat. One thing I can tell you from the update, from having done it myself and from seeing other people's pieces of gear, you want to use these stones on gear that the stats it didn't roll into. If you got a penta roll into effect resistance, you're only getting like 12 to 14 speed. It's not good conversion. It is not good conversion for crit rate. It is not good conversion for speed, for health, for attack, for all the different stats. The more you roll into that stat, the worse the conversion becomes, because they made it 85% of every roll, not of the max stat. So it's compounded, right? So it's the more you roll into the stat, the worse the conversion stone becomes. So if you roll into something once, that's not bad either. Twice even, it's not terrible, right? It's okay. But if you roll into something 3 or 4 times using a conversion stone on that, it's already gonna be like a trash gear anyway. So you might as well throw it away, right? So it's mostly for things that it didn't roll into, or 1 roll, 2 roll if it's just a piece that everything else rolled really good. So that's just something to get you guys to kind of start thinking about how these work and how you should be using them. But again, it is really nice to be able to change substats and optimize units. Don't think of it as fixing bad gear, because if you think of it as fixing bad gear, you're going to be disappointed. Think of it as tuning your already good gear. That's how you have to think about it. It's not fixing your bad gear, it's just tuning your good gear. That's how you have to think about it. So yeah, it's pretty fair overall, but it's more tuning than it is just like a raw stacking, which is, I think it was a good implementation, right? You can see the modification materials, how many you own right here. You can count them. You can just scroll down. Pretty easy. You can also find them in the inventory. The inventory is getting super crowded, so they have a lot of different stuff. All right, so let me finish these. Actually, let's go more in depth about this, right? And then you have the stones. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this, and kind of how we can see why I like the update, but it poses a lot of things that will need to be changed. There is a lot of fixes that will need to happen, because if they don't do these switches, this system is going to be another thing that players hate, right? Because it's really good in theory and it has the potential to be amazing, but right now it's weird, right? So the thing about it is, when you do Expedition 3, let me pull up. I have so many tabs open. I should have closed all of them before starting. But let's stop here real quick, and then let me show you the stones, right? So when you clear an Expedition level 3, you have the opportunity to get a stone, right? And expeditions, if you guys didn't know, are over here. You already had to do a lot of expeditions, so that's not bad. You already have to do a lot to try to clear this, right? And you can see that I've done a lot. I started at 0-0 essentially, and then I already finished fire, and I'm doing really well on all the others. But the thing about it is, Expedition level 3, which is the highest level of expedition that you can do right now, if I go to my inventory, and I farmed this a lot, and I exclusively farm level 3s. I never farmed anything that wasn't a level 3, right? I exclusively farm level 3s. If I go to my materials, and I go to my modification materials, look at how many regular stones I got compared to the red stones. I've used 2 of these so far. I've used 2 of these. But look at how many I have of the other one. And I've used 1 of these. It's almost like, if I was to count this, let me actually count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 every row. 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 greater plus the 2 that I already used. That's 15, right? And I used 1 on this other one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 14... 23 plus the 1, that's 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 to 15, right? So if we pull out our handy dandy calculator, right? So let's pull our little calculator out here. So we had 31 plus 15, so the total is going to be 46. I had 46 stones so far. And from that, the proportion right now from what I'm getting, of course this isn't going to be accurate, because like as we do more, it's like 30%. So 1 every 3 expeditions that you clear, you'll get a greater one. 32? Oh, thank you. So it's like around 30%. So right now, it feels like it's a third, right? It feels like you're just getting a third of the greater stones every time. So you're not getting the greater stones all the time. They're actually quite rare. Right? They're not, it's 1 every 3 expeditions that you do, you should be getting one. We'll see the actual numbers as we do more. It might drop down to 25% as we get more. It might go up as I do more expeditions and I get closer to 100. So it just depends, right? As we go higher or lower, we may or may get more expedition stones. So already you're not getting a lot of the high ones, and the highest hunt that you can do right now is going to be expedition level 3s. There's no expedition level 5 or 4 to get guaranteed for these. So these are already rare. Then on top of that, out of that 30%, there are in the game, there are 5 different hunts. They all have 3 to 4. I believe there's about like 20 sets in the game right now. 3 from Golem, 3 from Banshee, 3 from Wyvern, 3 from Asimek. So there's 15 sets. Unless there's some that have 4 sets. I don't know if there's any that have 4 sets though. So there's 15 sets because there's 5 hunts. Each has 3. So you have a 1 in 15 to get the set that you wanted when you do this. You have a 1 in 15 chance. So already you have a 30% chance to get this greater one. You have a 1 in 15 chance to get the set that you want. And then there are like 10 stats. So you have a 1 in 10 chance to get the substat that you wanted. This means that it's going to take you to get the substat that you want. It's going to be like the substat and the set that you want. It's going to take at least 300 runs unless you get lucky. And then on top of all that, when you actually use the stone, you're not guaranteed the highest roll value, which means that you can get a low roll value and then we'll need to go back and fix it. So essentially, it's very RNG. That's all I'm trying to say. I can do the math if you guys want me to, but essentially, it is a very RNG system, right? 30 plus 15 plus 0.1, and then you have, like, assuming that you can get an even spread on the stats, it's even lower, right? And then if I actually look, it feels like they're giving you more of the other sets than the other ones, right? So, like, if you just look at the numbers, I've only gotten 1 critical hit set. I've gotten 6 destruction sets, 5 unity, 5 counter set ones, 2 speed, 3 revenge, 4. Like, it looks like it's disproportionate, right? It looks like they're not giving me that much crit. They're not giving me that much speed. They're not giving me that much immunity. It may just be because I just don't have a large enough sample size, but it just feels like they also rigged the main stat drops to be the other ones, right? So it'll be interesting as we see more and more and gather more data. I might actually start trying to count all of these and like have an Excel file every time I get a drop, write it down. What set was it? Was it greater, right? And what the substat was, because I'm actually really curious. I think the substats are actually pretty well evenly spread, but I still feel like they did something in the background to make it less likely for it to drop. So overall, it is a very RNG process, right? Which normally it's not that big of a deal, right? You're eventually going to get there. It's going to take time, and that's okay. Things should take some time, but it is very RNG to the point that there is a chance you will never get a the substat of your choice or the substance stone. They have mentioned though that they are going to add a selection stone in the expedition rewards in April. So that should help the problem of getting the ones that you want. But if you're someone that's trying to do a lot of gear optimization and you're trying to farm a lot of these, then you get to the second problem. The second problem is going to be the energy cost. To run 1 expedition, it's 20 energy. That's a lot of energy. You're having to run hunts because you need gear, right? You need gear to be able to use the system. And then you have to run the expeditions that take 20 energy to get something that you may not want. Thankfully, you get the Reforged mats, so it's still always worth to do expedition level 3. That part's nice, right? Getting the expedition mats is always pretty easy and it's always nice. You're also guaranteed the drops, which is also kind of nice because then you can work on a variety of units. But the energy concerns is that right now, there is storyline events. Like the storyline event takes a bunch of time, a bunch of energy. There's the actual story events, which again take a bunch of time, take a bunch of energy. There is now hunts that you need to be farming. There is the evolution materials. There's the catalyst. There is the awakening materials. And then now there's also like the expedition. So there's so much stuff you have to farm now that it almost feels, oh, there's 16 sets. Yeah, so it's like even lower. But it almost feels like there is a very, very big energy drain. Right now, it's getting to a point where the energy and the time is getting to a point as well that I spent all day today playing Epic 7 essentially, right? And the thing about expeditions, unlike hunts, you can't auto expeditions. You actually have to physically click on them. And then if you also look at the green one, there's probably a 100% team. Actually, there is a 100% team. But right now, I don't have a fully automatic team because I just wasn't prepared for this one. I do have a semi-automatic team that works really well for this expedition. And I know what I need to do to make it auto. But it's just you actually have to manually click, check all the time because they go out like this. If you have put out an expedition level 3, they are gone within 3 minutes. Every time I put an expedition level 3, they are gone in 3 minutes. Right? It's just extremely fast. It's like you'll blink, the expedition is gone, right? It's like, oh, the expedition is gone, right? So it's important right now that you have a good guild. But the thing about it is you constantly have to be checking because there's other people that are going to be checking. So the time drain, the energy drain is actually quite big for expeditions right now. When I take a look at it, it really does feel like expeditions is taking quite a large portion of my time, as well as doing hunts, as well as doing all this other stuff. Because again, you have to manually click on the expedition and manually click to do it. So again, very, very time consuming, very, very energy consuming. I think the energy is going to be a big problem, especially for early game players. So I am curious what they will do later down the line. Maybe as people start finishing their gear, it won't be as important to farm expeditions. I do think by next month, once we get the selection materials, a lot of these problems that I'm talking about now will be gone, right? Because they did mention that they're going to have selection stones. And assuming you can get 3 selection stones every single month, and you're also trying to get 2100, it shouldn't be too bad, right? It's just something that is not smart to farm 24/7. Especially if you're free to play. If you're not free to play, then you should farm this all the time if possible. If you have the time, you have the resources, you should farm this as much as possible because it will make your gear considerably better. I can already show you one of the pieces I made that's just significantly better because of this change. It's just so nice to look at and to be able to have this piece, right? So overall, if you're a free to play player, if you don't have the resources, this month is going to be rough. You're probably going to have to wait till next month. Still do your expeditions. Still do as many as you can with energy while still being able to maintain your hunts. But next month, it will be a lot more worth it. So thankfully, they have it already in the schedule to have the selection stones. So I'm not super worried about the fact that it's super inconsistent, because they are going to add it here and it's going to make it easier. You're going to get those subs that you want. And eventually you'll get to a point where all your gear is caught up and you won't have to farm expeditions all the time. So it's going to be something that's a very high initial investment, because again, units also take a long time to build. You need the units for this content. If you don't have the units built, you're not going to be able to clear the content. It's more of a unit check than a gear check. Because if you have the units, you can have subpar gear and still do the necessary to do Expedition 3. I don't think Expedition 3s are hard at all. White base, the Substat chainstones, it's an expedition. They drop from Expedition 2 and Expedition 3. You want to do Expedition 3 to get these. Essentially, you can change and modify a Substat for a portion of its value to make it better. So that's the good, like that's the bad and the ugly, right? I'm talking very negative right now. I'm talking about the problems. Energy sink is huge. The inconsistencies again are huge, but they shouldn't be as bad of a problem by next month. Both of these, especially once you start catching up your units with the right gear. So it shouldn't be a huge problem. I hope that it's not. The difference between white is a substat amount. So let me just show you guys so you guys can get an idea of it. So you guys can see the difference between the two and how it would function. Let me show you with my A Robbie, since I did use a special one for her. But that's a lot of the ugly. That's a lot of the bad. That's a lot of the negative. It's inconsistent. It's an energy sink. It's going to be rough. You have to have expedition level 3s. You can't farm 2s. You're not getting the stones you need, right? But I do think that they have a plan in mind, because they already mentioned in April how you can drop it. So it feels like they already knew this was going to happen. Endgame players will right now, because white stones are so prevalent, I will be using white stones for a while. But it is nice for people that farm expeditions all the time, especially like if you already have the gear and you're just trying to change stuff. But let me show you a unit that I already did this on, right? So if we look at my A Robbie, I changed this piece, right? So if we go to modify, in the modify tab, you have all the stones. I don't have any counter set stones, so I can't change it. I did have it before, but this stat used to be effect resistance, right? This substat used to be effect resistance. But I had a greater stone that I touched on this and I high rolled it. So I got lucky and I got 4 speed. If you used a white stone, the range is like 1 to 3 speed versus 2 to 4 speed, right? So purple stones have a higher amount of change, but at the same time can do more. Let me try to find a piece that I can actually show how this process would work. Let me see on this piece, right? So for example, for this piece, if I decide to change speed for some reason, right? I can go here and I can click on this stone, right? And let's do a percentage. Is there a percentage? Well, there's the white. Okay, there's attack white and there's the purple white. If I use the purple one, it's 44 to 58. It can re-roll into the stat. If I use the white one, it's 39 to 51. So the range is smaller. You can go lower and it doesn't go as high. So if you were wondering, this is exactly showing this change. You can literally see it right here, right? An important thing to know, let's look at the defense percentage, right? Because the invested return is really bad if you use on gear that's already rolled really well. So something I kind of talked about, but don't use your stones on gear that penta rolled or quadra rolled or triple rolled. The more that you roll on an undesired stat, the worse the stones become. But yes, you will be using a lot of white stones, because the way that the system's set up right now, it's not consistent. Don't hoard and wait for a purple stone. It's not going to come. I would just wait till next month if you really want to wait. But white stones can help your units now. So white stones are fine. You can use white stones, then purple stones, and then vice versa. And you can always change that substat, right? So if you roll bad, if I roll at 5%, I can get another one and then roll it higher. So it's not that part is like pretty self-explanatory. But as far as how this works, right? Let's look at something like speed, right? Speed never rolled into speed. If I put this defense percentage, I can get 5 to 9%. That's really good. That's better than the low roll that I started with speed. I can legit get a high roll of defense starting off. That's amazing. That essentially means I can get a 1-for-1 conversion for my substat. That's insanely good. That's amazing, right? For the crit rate though, when I changed the defense, crit rate rolled 3 to 4 times. It rolled 3 times, I believe, on the crit rate. It rolled 3 times onto crit rate. 3 times. But I'm not getting 37% defense. I'm only getting 18 to 22%. The more that you roll on an undesired stat, the smaller the percentage becomes, because it's 85% of the max stat compounded every single time. And they give you the lower one. So that's why this should have been, if this was a defense percentage, it would have been 30% plus, right? So I would be wasting my stone if I use this defense percentage stone on this stat that rolled more than 2 times. It's not a good investment of return. You're not getting what you should be getting for using the same thing. Because this is 3 rolls and I'm only getting like 1 extra roll of defense. Whereas if I go on a stat that it never rolled into, I'm getting 5 to 9%. That is huge. This is amazing. This is great. This is an amazing change. It's super good. Great. This makes it, essentially what this does, as I was mentioning before, it won't make your bad gear better. It will make your good gear more optimized. Again, don't think about it as fixing gear. Think of it as tuning your gear, right? It's a very big difference, and it's the verbiage is very specific. This would be trying to fix my gear. For example, let's say this was flat health or something and I wanted defense, right? This would be bad. This is not fixing my gear. This gear is still very low rolled. This would be fixing my gear or tuning my gear. That's like for this, if I didn't care about the speed, this makes my Arabi considerably tankier, right? But it can fix certain things, right? So for example, this sword, let me show you guys some sword on my Akali. Let me see if I can find my Akali. So for example, my Akali right now, you guys know the raid sword. This raid sword never rolled into health. Substat stone change here is amazing. If I can get a speed critical hit damage stone, this is huge. This is going to be a 1-to-1 conversion rate. I can get a 9% crit damage. But if this had rolled into speed, I am losing roll value, right? Does that make sense? The more that you roll into something, the worse that it gets, right? And I can make a video about it, MQ. I think it's, I'm gonna weigh it a little bit more for data because I want to get the percentages right and put that in a very, very compact video. But again, just looking at this, if you watch it right here, this will tune your gear amazing because it never rolled into health. But had it rolled into, like for example, had this rolled into health, I'm gonna lose so much value over it. Let me see if I have a speed stone, right? So for example, like this would be bad, right? But if it was a purple one, it would be a lot higher. So for example, I could already do this right now. I actually might, right? So for this one, imagine if this was compounded over and over. If it was a purple stone, I think it goes up to 6%, right? So purple stone's considerably better. I wish I could see it. I wish I could click it and see what it would be. But I could technically do this right now, right? And get a little bit extra crit damage. This is good, but you guys can see that you are losing a lot of stats. You are losing a significant portion of your stat if you do this. Because if you're doing this, you're losing a significant, like look at this. Same, one more roll, right? I rolled 1 extra time into attack, but I'm only getting an extra what? 2% maximum? You guys see that, right? I'm getting a 2% extra maximum for a whole extra roll. That's terrible conversion. That's terrible. So you don't want to do it you don't want to use this for situations like this. You want to use it more in situations like this one. So for example, for my Apocalypse Robbie, this was effect resistance and I got a perfect speed roll. This is amazing, right? So gear like this piece is godly now. I could probably flex this and people will be like, wow, that's a really good looking piece of gear. Because I changed that effect resistance into speed and it high rolled. But if I tried to change this health into speed, it would have looked terrible. The piece would have been trash, right? So again, it cannot fix your bad gear. It can only tune it to make good gear better. That's all I wanted to say for that. And it's just like for things like this, it's also like I could modify this, make the speed better. I could change this to defense percentage and get a really big return. I can get a huge return here on defense, right? I mean, yeah, not godly because it's purple. I am missing a roll, but it would be insane if that was a purple set, right? Like imagine if that had an extra 6% health. If this was in a red gear, but this was effect resistance, that would be crazy, right? Let me try to see if I can find a piece where it would be just amazing. Honestly, all the raid swords are really good. If you ever get a critical hit damage one for speed, Raid swords are amazing. If you ever get a critical hit damage and it never rolled into health, this sword becomes amazing. It just becomes insanely good. Because you can take out that health, make it into critical hit damage. That's good. That's making good use of your stones. But alright, let me look at some of the questions that y'all have talked about. You can't, so as far as the changes, so I'm going to use my A Ravi since I already used it on her. You can't, once you modify a stat, you cannot modify it again. That's the only stat you can modify. You can change it to something else, right? But you cannot go backwards, right? So for this one, I have all the other stats, so also I can't change it. But you can only change the substat that you already changed. Does that make sense? You can only change this substat again. This one substat that you already changed. That's it. You're locked. Only one substat, only the same stat, right? You are locked into that. Does the new roll range change? Yes, you can. The roll will always show up differently. Let me show you another unit. So let me show you of a bad example that I did by accident and of a bad roll. So my T Surin, I kind of messed up. It was kind of on me. This was effectiveness. I accidentally chose effectiveness over health, right? Let's say you make the mistake. For some reason, you're tired one night, you come home, you forget, instead of changing the health, you change the effectiveness to critical hit damage. Right? And you're like, oh shoot, that's not what I wanted. Well, you can never change that again. I can never go back to the stat I had before, even if I get the exact same stat, and then change health. I'm done. I already committed to this piece going to be a bruiser damage dealer. Probably going to go on a MRSA. Right? So the gear's not like completely useless, but it just, you cannot go back on your decision. I already committed to changing that effectiveness. Even though I wanted the health, it's too late. I am locked forever. This is the only substat I can change. You cannot go backwards. Once you click it, that's the stat. That's the stat you can modify. Nothing else. Only that one stat on that one piece of gear. And you can change it to different stats as long as you don't have doubles. Is that kind of making sense? I hope this whole system is making sense to you guys. It's once you get into it, it's quite intuitive, right? So for example, for this one, I already changed it into defense and things like that. You cannot change the main stat. One substat per gear, and only that one substat. Once you change it, you are locked to that one change. You can change it to different things, but you cannot go backwards and change another stat. So if you decide like, oh man, you know, I kind of want this to go back to effectiveness and change this to health to go on my T-Cern better. Too late. You already committed to changing the effectiveness. It's gone forever, right? So let me see if I can do one that I wanted to do. Let me see what stones I have, and then I can see what unit I know that I have gear that I can upgrade or modify. So you guys can see it in action. Let me find it. Because I've formed quite a few, and I don't think there's any crit damage gear. Actually, there's arena pieces that have critical hit damage. Let me show you guys an arena piece. Let me see if I have the arena piece, actually. I hope I do. I think I do. For example, let's go to some arena gear, right? I don't have arena gear? That's so sad. Okay, let me see if I have an attack set. Okay, so I do have an attack. I don't have the arena piece. That's weird. I thought I did. This one's already critical hit damage. Alright, this one. So let's take a look at this one, right? So I have this purple one. Let's see everything we talked about in action. Everything that we've discussed in action. I'm not actually going to click on it unless, because I don't think this is right for this year, right? So this piece was a free-to-play piece. And it had terrible substats. Let's say, for example, instead of crit rate, that this was something else. This would make this piece really like a lot nicer because you can change it out. But if we look at like the effectiveness, I'm not getting a lot for that effectiveness. I'm not going to use it on this, by the way. Don't worry about that. I'm not. But if you did it on anything besides this critical hit rate, you are losing a lot of stats. The one that it does make sense on is on this health, right? Because on this one, you're not losing that much to get a stat that you want. So for example, if I wanted to do this, I could use it here, right? You can technically get, yes, you can get it down. So if I try to change the stat, I can actually make it go lower. I don't think I have the unit to show for an example for that, sadly. Because all this, like, I just got really lucky with certain of the drops to be able to change like a very few amount of my units. And I've been farming all day, and I was able to change one substat, which is, it's not great, but it's not bad either. there's nothing I want to change on that piece, and I don't think I have anything I want to change. I already changed this one, and I have no stat that I can change. So I can't really show you guys the rest. But all in all, it's not bad. Let me see if I can find one that I really wanted to change. There's one immunity one that I actually don't like. And it's on my operator cigarette that is unbuilt. Alright, so this one. This is a good example of a gear that you can change and make better. Assuming I don't care about effectiveness, look at that. That's great, right? Even though it's a blue stone, I can change it in the future, but this stone becomes a lot better, right? So if I change this, let's say I'm committed. I am pretty committed to changing this one. I don't want the effectiveness because this is not going to go in Operator Cigarette. It has way too much crit damage to go in Operator Cigarette, but I do want it to have attack percentage, right? And effectiveness is useless on a lot of attack units. Let's modify that. And we got a high roll. So we don't have to change this again unless we get a purple gear. So that's awesome, right? Look how much better this piece looks already from before. That's how you use the upgrade stones, right? This is how you would want to use them. Now, this, if in the future, if I get another attack stone and I try to change this, it could actually get lower. So you need to be careful when you do changes like that, right? Why don't I click on the arrow to show the mod stones when you click on a gear? I like seeing it this way, just to see what I got. But again, we could keep doing this over and over again. Like, for example, let's say I want to make this a bruiser piece. I can change this, or I can change the speed if I didn't like the speed. Or I could even modify this low roll. I wish I could find one that's a low roll and modify it. I don't know if we can, though. The reroll will never roll lower? Really? I didn't know that. That's actually kind of cool. But okay, that's kind of it in action, right? So that's the cool one. So that's the gear stat change. So let's go back to Wyvern. Let's go farming some Wyverns while we talk about other updates, because this was not the only other update. There's a lot of other stuff. So there's a lot of other stuff, right, that we can get to. So let's go back to farming Huns while we talk about the other stuff. And I will pull up the other stuff so you guys can see it. But again, pretty nice update, right? So one thing that I want to say is the good, the bad, and the, again, just summarize everything that we just talked about. The good, right? Let's go back to the main page. The good. You can actually make gear a lot better now. You can actually fix a lot of gear and make it significantly better, right? It won't fix bad gear, but it'll make your good gear better. Think of it as a tuning system. That's amazing. That's a good step in the right direction. I wasn't a fan at first, but I think they did a really good job implementing it because it punishes penta roll changing, right? And it doesn't make it a straight conversion, so it still makes those like very few OP pieces that you can pull that roll really good still be OP because you can never have a maxed out with a substat change, right? So that part is not going to break the game as far as like making people significantly better than other people, but it is going to add a little bit of fine tuning to units. So some units that require fine tuning will be really good, like Apocalypse Raleigh, hard to build units. All Bruisers, Rylet, any unit that's a hard to build unit, you can now modify some of the substats and make them significantly better. That's a huge and nice update. That's great. That's a step in the right direction. It makes gearing in this game a lot nicer. It makes the amount of usable gear better. It makes changes to some gear nicer overall. So overall, I'm a big fan of that. The parts, the negatives. It's a huge energy drain. If you're someone that wasn't doing expeditions before, you need to start. It's going to be hard for early game players to get to Expedition 3. If you're not doing Expedition level 3s, this new system is not that good. Expedition level 2s are okay for starting, but you need to be doing Expedition level 3s. So that's a hard barrier to entry for early game players because it's a very unit dependent content. Expedition is not gear dependent. You can actually be a pretty early player and actually clear Expedition level 3. It's very easy. Expedition level 3s are actually quite easy. You just have to have the units and the team built. But that does require energy, that does require some molas, and it requires having the units, right? So it's a little bit more. There's a lot of free to play units you can actually use. So it's not something that's like unit locked. So there's a lot of units you can do for expeditions to actually make it better, and it is a lot easier, but it doesn't mean you have to build the units. The energy sink is huge. You need to be farming hunts, you need to be farming expedition, you need to be farming for units, you need to be farming for awakening materials, you need to be farming for all this other stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff you need to farm, and because this is such an inconsistent design right now, right? Keyword right now, they did mention there's going to be a lot of fixes, and I have some theories on how they're going to fix it. But keyword right now, it is very grindy. You're not going to get the substat you want every single time. You're not going to get the change that you want every single time. You may low roll and want to change it to a high roll in the future, which means that that's slowing down your progress. So it is going to require you to farm expeditions a lot. You may not always get the purples. You may only get whites, right? So it's going to require you to spend a lot of time doing expeditions. Now, that is not all bad, because by next month, expeditions, what they mentioned in the previous stream, and let me actually pull it. What they mentioned in the previous stream, and let me actually pull it so you guys know I'm not just pulling this and just lying to you guys. In April, which is next month, they're going to make a Substat Change Stone equipment set. So essentially, you'll probably be able to pick the Substat change that you want. So every month, if they do it like they did the equipment conversion stones, you'll get to pick 3 Substat changes a month, which makes it good, because that way, down the line, the energy requirements will go back to normal, right? So it's only for people that are trying to rush right now, because the rewards are still 2100. They might bump it up to 2200, but that's something that you already should be doing, because the rewards for expedition are so good. So there is no reason for like the energy will go down. The energy requirements will go. That's all I want to say from this. The energy requirements will go down. The energy requirements will go down as time goes on when they implement this change in April, because you only have to do the bare minimum to stay competitive, which again, amazing change. I am super happy. Incrust, not yet. I'm not pulling till next week because I don't want to pull for Ervalin. And we'll talk about all the other units. And Emma Lilibet in a second. So Hibber, all the other ones, we'll talk about them. I'll show you guys videos, particularly one from the Discord. And I still have to do the Worth It video today after this stream to talk about them more in depth as well. But overall, it's nice, right? So in April, it'll be a lot better system. The energy drain won't be that bad. Don't be scared when you go into Reddit and you see a bunch of people complaining. That's just Reddit. That's just like Stove. They clearly look like they're changing. The other change, this one's not confirmed, but I really think they're going to do it, because Expedition level 3 is so easy right now. Like, it's actually really easy to make Expedition level 3 teams right now. It's not a hard content to clear. What I think they're going to do in the future is they're going to implement Expedition level 4. That's my theory. You may disagree with it. I can show you guys all my teams in a second. But you may disagree with it. You may think that they're not going to do that. But I really do think they're going to make an Expedition level 4 where these white stones won't drop and you'll be able to get purples or epics, right? So I think that's going to happen down the line. I pretty much expect it. I think they're setting up themselves for doing that. Just like maybe giving us like 3 or 4 months to get used to the new system, get used to the substat changes before implementing level 4. And I really do think they're going to do that. That's my theory. That's my big brain level King Blair theory. They are setting up themselves to fix the issues right now. They're probably setting them set up to fix in the future, right? More content, essentially, which you can't blame them, right? They can't do everything, right? So it'll definitely change down the line, but I like the system that it's not a one-to-one conversion. That's really good. I like that it's more for low stats rather than just gear that you rolled a million times into. That may make some people sad because that means your F recipes will still be a really bad F recipes unless it was never rolled into it. Kind of sucks in that aspect for the free gear, but if it didn't roll into it, you can actually make some of the arena gear really, really good. So they're pretty sure they have that in the works. It's an Expedition level 4 or 5 where you're going to get different stuff, and it's pretty significant. The level 3 difficulty drop is humongous. It's so much easier. It's actually like the difference is just, it's nothing. You can't even compare the two, right? Like, it's so much easier. I wasn't able to consistently clear Earth Expedition 3 before the update. Oh man, I can clear like it's nothing, and my units aren't even max awakened. Let me stop it so I can show you guys the Expedition team. So as far as the substat change discussion, I think that's all that we have, unless you guys have any more questions about it, any concerns. That's a big one. Do you guys have any concerns about the substat change system? Is there something that you guys are strongly against, strongly for, anything you want to discuss? I'll show that the teams from my Expedition. Again, guides should be dropping on this content the next couple of weeks. Assuming everything goes as I expected, it should be really clean and it'll be really nice. It'll look really polished and I'm really excited for it. It's going to have PowerPoints. It's going to have clips. It's going to be good. I'm excited for it to make the Expedition guides. I haven't done like PvE guides ever because I think PvE is already such easy content. But yeah. Pool RNG is too high. Not sure if the 3 monthly is enough. Yeah, that could be an issue down the line as you get more gear. I think it's gonna be something that's like a very high investment, but it'll lower down as you go closer, right? Because usually you don't get that many usable pieces every day that you can speed to and stuff like that. You don't get that like all the time, right? So I don't think that it'll be too terrible down the line. Like, it might be bad at first, but it won't be as bad later. Oh, awesome. We got an expedition. All right, so let's go to it. Expedition. Let's talk about this, and then we'll talk about Emma Lilibet and all the other ones. Yeah, it's not a race. Yeah, it's no big deal. You'll get there. You'll get there eventually. Especially like over time, you'll get there. You're not gonna have that much gear that needs changing over time. So, but yeah, there is a lot of energy. There's a lot of content, which is good and bad in its own way. There's a lot of critical content. Let's put it that way. Like Labby needs to change. A lot of stuff needs to change. There's a lot of stuff that needs changing. But initial investment, really high. Once you kind of have things rolling, really, really good. Expeditions. You should not be doing level 2 or lower expeditions anymore. You need to build your expedition level 3s. And I use whale teams, but there are free-to-play teams out there. Just because I use a whale team for Dark Expedition does not mean that you have to use a whale team for expeditions, right? There's a lot of free-to-play teams, especially Earth is very free-to-play. Fire, extremely free-to-play. Dark, a little bit harder for people that don't have the units. And the gear is not insane, right? That you don't need to get gear. You don't even have to carry. You don't even have to carry. That's the big thing. This is gonna be in the videos, but you don't have to do 60 million damage. If you just do 400k damage, it's gonna be easy. The other thing, get a good guild. It's never been more important that you're in a good guild that has expeditions, that posts expedition, that talks about expeditions, so you can get better and have friends. For friends, go to the Discord. Go to the Epic 7 Discord. That's how I got a bunch of my friends, and they're actually pretty nice, right? Like, they're pretty cool. Most of these are actually pretty good, right? Most of these are doing level 3s expeditions, right? And that's what I want. I want to see people doing level 3 expeditions. I can hop in. I want to do it with them. And for the most part, I recognize almost all the names. I see them posting expeditions. I see them doing expeditions. You want to keep people like that. It's important that you clear your friend list. Do not add your guildmates to your friend list. That's another one. Do not add guildmates to your friend list. Because if you add guildmates to your friend list, you're wasting spaces. Only add other people, not people in your guild. So if you have people in your guild as friends, kick them off of your friend list. Get better friends, right? And there's several people that are happy, right? Let's do Fire Expedition first, since we just posted this one. So level 3 Expedition, my bud, put it up. Let's just farm this. This is the team I use. I use Craw, Diani, Luluka, Luna. Luna, Luluka, and Diani are not on Reforged gear. This is my PvP Craw. This is a PvP Diani. Luluka is the only unit I built strictly for this. And Luna already had build previously because she was really good in the past. And she also can do really good in PvE content. And the gear is not I-90. Not all the gear is I-90. They get leftover gear. I legit, because you know how you like usually make some of your units better? You'll over time make some of your units better, and then you'll kind of shave off some of the I-90 stuff that you 90 before when you were desperate. That gear will go on these units, right? This is the team. I do turn off skills on Luluka and Luna. The problem with this team in particular is that it's very slow because Diani's animations take a day and a half. You can change Diani for Tama. The Luna and the Luluka also are very RNG. If my Luluka decides to not function, it's really bad. If my Luna decides to never hit one time, it's really bad, right? And I'll show the gear afterwards. But it'll be an easy clear, right? I'll only be able to do like 400, 500k before someone clears it and before we finish it, right? So it's not bad. It's actually quite easy. Expeditions are nice. But okay, let me see some of the stuff that they are all saying too. MQ, yes, I know the Diani buffs are stripped at the beginning, but it doesn't really matter because she gets them back anyway. Look, we pretty much already cycled the debuffs back. The other thing is that it makes it so she gets a turn faster, so it's more consistent and I never get cut in, right? The team works pretty well. It may not be optimized. That's fine. You don't have to be a PvE main. I'm not a PvE main. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys I have the best expedition team. I don't. My expedition teams are good enough. That's all you need. You just need good enough. You don't need to clear the Dagger Shikar missions every single time you enter an expedition. As long as you're committing. Like right now, I already put in the work I needed to put in. I could quit this fight right now and it'd be completely fine. It would still get cleared. because I did my needed contribution to this fight. So I'm done. I could quit right now. I already did my contribution. Rose is really good, but I don't want to build Rose personally yet. Carl, I like it because it's tankier. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Don't be scared by expeditions. You don't need to have super OP units just for PvE. The only PvE unit I have is Luluka. A, she's super cute. B, she's in a bunch of content, so it's good mileage that I'm gonna be getting from this Luluka. So it's just a lot of good, right? There's a lot of good stuff in this team. And then both these units have leftover gear. I did not give them specific sets for them. I legit gave them leftover gear that once I changed that unit to a different build, I had some I-90 gear that I had originally. Boom, I just left that on there. The Luna EE has to be the Combat Readiness one. That one is pretty, you have to do that one. The Luluka one is the extra S1 skill. Right? Look at that. I did my contribution. I did way more than my contribution. If anything, this is too much. Actually. So, I should get the Luluka skin. I'm going to get it when I get the... Over time, I'll get the tickets and I'll get the Luluka skin. So, I'll probably get the Luluka skin soon. But yeah, look at that. Nice and easy. Look at that. No issues. Easy peasy. Boom. Let's see what mat we get. Let's see what mat we get. 4 minutes to clear. Nice and easy. 2 seconds. I did all the... Look at that. They didn't have to do anything. They just chilled. We didn't even have a 6th person. That's how easy expeditions are. It's free low. We got a low roll, which sucks. But it is crit rate on a crit damage, which is kind of nice, right? And we get the... This is what's nice. You get both, and you get all these Reforge mats. So if you're hunting for Reforge, it's actually really good. All right, now for Dark. So Dark Expedition... this one is semi-auto. I have to auto the first if I want to do more damage. The only reason I don't have to, I could auto it, but I just won't get as many points as if I autoed it. It's a kind of a whale team. You don't need this team at all. You can change it a lot, different stuff. But it's pretty easy, Surge. It's really easy. I'll show all the units, and you guys will see. You don't need to have the units to the level I have them, as long as you're doing the work that you need to. Okay, now we can turn on auto. Oh, wait, we can't, because Falconeer Clear is too fast sometimes. I hate when that happens. All right. Please don't lap again. Okay, now we can auto. Now it's chill. Yeah, I could, no, but I want the Cerise also to have her S3, so I can get the slow for longer. So, this is the team. It does around 600-700k. Pretty good. But okay, let me read some of the stuff you all been saying. So, overall, we're going to get to Emma Luluka. We're going to get to potential buffs. I know you guys are talking about that. I know you guys are excited about that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to all that. All the update stuff we're going to cover today. We're going to get to all that. I just wanted to show you guys the expeditions. Hopefully, they put up on Earth in the time that I'm talking about this. And you guys can see my team and see that it's not too bad. My Earth is weak, but I actually have to do stuff. So, hopefully... someone puts up on Earth. I still have to semi-auto that. It's not complete yet because my 10 is not even awakened. It doesn't even have plus 15 gear. So, but yeah, we're going to talk about buffs. We're going to talk about him a little bit. We're going to be talking about Ida. We're going to be talking about everything. And then I'm going to be answering stuff. Balance patch is going to be announced tomorrow. It should drop at the end of the RTA season, which is in 2 weeks. So, just for reference. Am I the only one that relates Corrin from Firemill with Luna? Noah, Emmy, VG, I could see that. I could really see that, to be honest with you. I could really see that. Tab, turn off Falconeer Clear skill. No, because I need the series. I should do that and it'll be easy. I honestly should. I should have just done that. You're right. I'm just bad. I should have done that after I used this S1 with series. But this team does quite a bit of damage. And the slow from series is invaluable. And the dual attacks too. It just makes it really nice. You can change all these units. You don't need Landy. You don't need Tama. You don't need Cerise. You can use Deannie. You can use any attack buffer, honestly. You can use Luluka here. You can use Tamato Luluka. You can use the new Kawana, surprisingly, can actually use here. There's a lot of things you can actually use in this boss fight. Expeditions are not bad, right? It's just having the units built. But let me see some of the stuff that you guys are talking about. Crit rate injury. Yeah, purple crit rate injury is tough. It's tough when you don't get the right set, but you get the purple. Buff the Great Mortal Legs. I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah, patch notes should be dropping tomorrow. And then the actual patch will be in 2 weeks. The DJB buffs coming soon. I don't know what buffs, but the Koreans live stream apparently said DJB is confirmed. So that's good. But okay. As far as this expedition, kind of talking about it, again, it's slow. It sucks that it's slow because I'm doing a lot of poke damage, but I'm just taking so many turns that I end up doing a lot of damage, right? So it's like a kind of a poke damage team that the only reason it works is Falconeer Clary, free-to-play unit, really, really good. Is there for healing, is there for tanking, is there for decreased defense. Cerise is there for the slow. Tama is legit there for the heals and for the attack buff. Any unit that can do that can do that. And then Landy's the DPS. You can put any other DPS in there. I could probably put Luluka and I'll have more consistent damage. But I like the speed buff from Landy because it makes it more poor. DJB, okay, so Izanagi for the buffs. The Korean live stream, they said in the Korean live stream that DJB was going to get the buff. But yeah, you can try this team. One thing to note, Landy has to be on Bloodstone. Please put your Landy on Bloodstone in this. If you don't have your Landy on Bloodstone, your team is going to be suffering. Landy is healing probably more than the Tama in this round. Because look at here. Every time she does S3, she gets the speed buff. And look at how much she... 4k heal. That's huge. You need Bloodstone in your Landy for this one in particular. It's just the healing is really nice. And Tama's healing isn't like necessarily like insane, right? So it helps out. DJB was in a weird spot. He kind of just needed a stab boost. I hope it's just a stab boost because if they overbuff DJ Basar, it's going to be really scary. And they could definitely overbuff DJ Basar. Can buffed heroes be recalled? No, it's only nerfed heroes. You cannot recall buffed heroes. You can only... I don't know why they would let... That doesn't make sense. Think about it. If they buffed the hero, why would they let you recall it? They made the hero better, right? If it was like a rework, then yes, they would let you switch it if it was a rework. DJB hype train. I have DJB as well, so I'm kind of excited. I hope if it's super broken, I'm gonna be a little bit sad because I'm an A Tywin abuser. As you guys know, if you guys didn't know this, I'm an A Tywin abuser, like a big A Tywin abuser. So the fact that DJB is such a good counter to A Tywin is kind of concerning for me, but DJB is gonna be nice. Because you don't need him. I mean, you don't know how good the buff is, though. If DJ Basar's buff is amazing, he could be really meta. But okay, yeah, this is the team. Not bad. Nothing crazy. Again, super easy. All of these units that I have right here are built for another purpose or for PvP. I literally cooked this team up because Taff, who's in the comments, mentioned this team to me. And it was great. Right? And it worked really well. And I tried it out, and it worked. And they're all still on their PvP builds. My Cerise, still in a PvP build. My F. Clary, still in a PvP build. My Tama, I use her everywhere else. My Landy, the only thing I have to do for PvP is change Bloodstone to Guiding Light. And it's done. It's so nice, right? You don't have to build a ton of units. I would say you have to build like 2 or 3 units max for the sole purpose of expeditions. If even that. Water boss, that's in so far, dude. I'm not gonna talk about water boss because that's not relevant to current times. But yeah, I mean it does okay. 5k. That should be more than enough for someone to clear it, right? So that part's nice. Oh my goodness, I don't want to. Oh, see, it went away. I took too long to click on it. And let me just set this up for people to do, and I'll go back and finish it later. But this will get like hopped on in like 2 seconds. And the thing about it that you should do. So this is a recommendation. Send it to everyone, right? So send it to all your friends. Send it to all your guild mates. And then you can go on the Discord, right? And for my guild... Oh, shoot. Hold up. For my guild, I can go here to guild, not guild tourney. I can go to the expeditions, and I can be dark exped up. And boom. Easy peasy. My guild now knows that I have Dark Expedition. Also, if you're wondering, I'm really bad at DMing. I will get to the DMs, but I'm really bad. If you know me in person, like if you actually knew me like really, really well, you'll know I'm terrible at DMs. I'm really bad at DMs. That's all I gotta say. I'm really bad at DMs. If you DM me, I will reply to you eventually. Just don't expect it in a day or 2. I just get like lazy to reply. And I'm really bad at keeping up with people because of that. But yeah, that was the Dark Expo. And then for the Earth Expo, I can show you guys right now. And I'll show you the builds on all the units. For Dark Expo, if I was to show you guys, it's Kayron, Tenebria, Ross, and Tama. You can change Tama for Hazel. You can use Ball. Ball into Sun is insane for Earth Expedition. If you're struggling for Earth Expedition, just freaking do Ball. Ball will carry your Earth Expedition so hard. It's kind of stupid, right? I'm using this one and I get like around 500, 400,000. I'm using this 10A. So I'm using a super hodgepodge 10A. Look at this. This is the 10 I'm using for for Earth Expedition right now, and I'm still getting 400k. You can't tell me you cannot get a Tenebria like this. You can definitely get a Tenebria like this, right? It's so easy to get that. Not even max artifact, and she's already doing her job. Ball, same thing with Ball. You don't even need to 6-star Ball, right? And he does the job. Ball is actually insane for this. So if you have this guy, build him, and you'll never struggle in Earth Expedition. But I am gonna finish Tenebria because I don't want to have I want to be able to auto my Earth Expedition. Right now I have to manual it a little bit. This is my Kayron. It's a PvP Kayron. It's not even like perfectly optimized. This is my Ross. It's a PvP Ross who's getting a big buff. Let me actually change this actually. He's getting quite a big buff right now. So I am changing a piece of my Ross for this. I'm actually really happy with my Ross now. This is a really good Ross. I'm happy with him. I could probably reforge some of these pieces, but I don't have the stuff to reforge it with. Like if I wait here and I go on to here, I want to change this for defense percentage. So when I get defense percentage, I will be changing this to defense percentage. This one, I would like to change the crit rate into flat health, right? But I can't do that. And then this one's, I would like to change the crit rate into like flat health or flat defense, right? And this one, change it into something else. And then this one, change one of them to like health percentage or something, right? So there's a lot of stuff you can do. How would I gear Ball for the Earth Expedition? Damage and effectiveness. 85% effectiveness, damage, 150 speed's fine. You do need to maul his S3 a little bit, and that's it, and you're set forever, for life. It's really easy, actually. It makes it way easier. Send all when? Honestly, dude, I wish they just did that. But okay. Logan, I hope they do that too. Hype time. All right. So that's it for expeditions. We can talk about it later, but we still have a lot of stuff to get in. Oh, yeah, let me show my Tama. My Tama's all right. Nothing crazy about my Tama. But all right. If you have other questions about expedition, ask them now. We're moving forward to other conversations, other units. I need to get my water because I'm getting super thirsty. So I'm going to inch back a little bit. If you're enjoying the talks, make sure you like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Also subscribe because we're doing huge videos next week. We're doing expedition guides. We're doing discussions. We're doing a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff planned. That's all I'm going to say. But let me see something. Oh, yeah, it would have to be... Oh, Kumo, thanks for reminding me. I always forget the main stat, but this is my Tama. I forgot to show the stats. Okay. Woo! That was nice. All right. So, now, next order of discussion. I'm a Lilibet. Thanks, you for bro. I do need to lift more. It's not my fault. All my gyms are closed in my area for like a long time. Also, I live in Texas. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get political. But the mask restriction was lifted in Texas. So I'm definitely not going to a gym anytime soon. Because no one's going to be wearing masks. Which makes me kind of sad. But it is what it is. It's part of living in Texas. But alright, let's look at the Mystic Summons. I don't want to get too much into it, but just know that. Yeah, I'm glad that helped you, Rage. I'm glad that helped. But yeah, I'm not. I do need to work out though, Hufer. I really do. I'm kind of scrawny right now. It makes me sad. But okay. As far as I'm a little bit, let's actually go to the screen and let's actually turn on our sounds again that I have muted. Because apparently you guys can hear it even though I can't, which is really weird. Let me know if it gets too loud. But so you guys can hear the quotes. I'm not going to be able to hear it because it actually distracts me a lot. But yeah, dang it, Texas. Dang it, Texas. Oh yeah, K-Kite. I did ping yours. Because I did want to showcase this. And I'll put it in the chat. So Kekai is a legend level player. He was in legend, and I think he might be in legend again. And he actually pulled and already did a showcase on Emma Lilibet. And she looks like she's doing her job well, right? So not bad. And like it's only gonna get better because like he doesn't have it fully reforged yet. So it's looking good. But okay, let me put it up. So this is the showcase that he did. If you guys are interested, let me link it here because I won't be able to do it. So right there, it's the link to this. You can kind of see her. It's kind of cool, right? I like the idea of lifesteal. I like it over counter, actually. Because the problem with counter gear is that you can overstat. Like, you can overfill. So you end up hurting yourself against Cerise F10 comps. Because if you use it against Cerise F10 comps and you counter, then you get cut in. And that's not something you want, right? You want Emma Lilibet to make sure that she takes a turn when you want her to take the turn. Durano's kind of an interesting idea too, because then you just get more every time she gets hit. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty good build. But again, she's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing, right? This is a very common defense in Arena and in Guild Wars. You can see here Cerise Strip, F10A S3, you know, tons of debuffs, right? Not looking great. Emma Lilibet cuts in, comes up, S3s. RBs are almost never on immunity. Reduces the cooldown on RB. RB can now not do S3. Rest of the team is safe. That's really strong. That's good. She's doing her job, right? The damage wasn't insane though, right? And if we look at the damage calculator, like it did 3k, and it was on a decent build, and the damage is not crazy, but she does her job. So overall thoughts on her, she does her job extremely well, and she cycles like crazy. Her damage is not like F Maya level, but you're getting way more turns, which is more DPS over time. So let's look, for example, at Emma Lilibet. Another thing sorry, my voice kind of gave out there. Another thing compared to HP scaling units, defense does not scale down in RTA. So just remember that. These defense does not scale down. In case you're curious, let's say you give her Draco Plate. Let's say she has 2000 attack, right? 300 critical hit damage. Pretty achievable. Assuming you're going against an FCC F10, they'll be around this much defense if they're a good one, and you'll typically have an Aureus. So you'll typically have an Aureus there. I just have it memorized. I'm just gonna type it in. So Aureus gives you 10, and damage transfer is 20. So nothing crazy at first, right? So against a unit through Aureus, her S3 is not doing tons of damage, right? For 300 critical hit damage. Oh, wait, I forgot the defense. So defense, I've seen them at 2,000. So I think 2,000 is achievable, if not higher. So you're doing 4k AoE to a unit through Aureus, a squishy unit like F10A. When you think about that, that means in those F10A RB teams, you're doing way more. Because if you have none against those squishy teams, you're doing like 6k on the S3. That's a lot of damage. That's going to almost kill the Arbiter Wildred, right? And it's going to do a ton of damage onto the F Maya. It's going to reset their cooldowns. It's going to be great, right? And that's assuming their defense is not lower. If you have a unit like Crawl that gives increased defense, right, to her, you get considerably more attack. 8k. Now you're almost killing and you're getting tankier, right? So she does less damage when defense broken. Yes. If she actually is defense broken, she actually does do less damage. So could be a counter F Clary, but the thing about it is she can shake off debuffs, right? So it's pretty nice for her. But yes, it's very significant damage. And when you think units, Crawl is very big in the meta. Not as much anymore because it's all about the Light Knights. But even with attack buff, like let's say with the General Purgus, imagine her and General Purgus. Oh my god, dude. The amount of cycling you're going to do. Like with an attack buff, she does 7k. Not as big of a ratio. She definitely does scale better off of the defense. So it's better to build more defense. But assuming you have like a General Purgus, 7k and 6k every time she hits. She's cycling. She can't be locked down easily. She can't be locked down. She's not immune to debuffs. That's something you guys need to know. She's not immune to debuffs. She can be locked down. It's just you have to do it smartly. But all in all, not bad damage. Pretty good, right? She does less damage when defense broken, but does more when she's as a defense buff. So, pretty solid. Yeah, I'm also doing it next week, Avengers for the imprints as well. That's pretty smart. Now that I mention it, cannot hear it yet. So let me just see some of the stuff you were saying. Yes, the damage will be better over time because it scales off of defense. So unlike HP scaling Bruisers, she scales well into the late game. Because not only is she still tanky, she'll also be doing a ton of damage. So all in all, really, really solid. I am pleasantly surprised with how good she looks. And from K-Kite's video, shout out to K-Kite, sub to him. He does a lot of showcases, more showcases than I do, right? So definitely, if you have a chance, go check out K-Kite's video. Really, really cool. Really, really solid. I'll also post it in the worth it. But she's doing her job, and she does well at her job. Now, as far as power levels, she's probably gonna be strong, but not OP, if that makes any sense. She's going to be strong, but not OP. She's a skill unit. If you have someone that doesn't know what they're doing with Emma Lilibet and just drafts her because they see control, you're going to be losing. Because the thing about it is if you use your S3 early, now you're super susceptible to control. If the player that's playing against Emma Lilibet knows how to time their debuffs, that's not good. If they only have one debuffer, Emma Lilibet is not going to do as well, right? Because she's not cycling as much. She's just a normal, regular bruiser at that point that doesn't have any counters like a Ravi does, doesn't have as much AoE potential. So it's pretty interesting. As far as her potential, as long as she is here, full control is not going to be dominating like it did with Cerise and F10. Like, you guys know how we had that little meta for like a month where like F10 Cerise control was super powerful? As long as this unit is in the game, those teams won't be as oppressive because she will always be able to cut in. She will always be able to remove those debuffs and set up into your team. Right? I don't know why I went to the guild. Kind of cool to see some of my guildies already have her. I expect them to win all their guild wars tomorrow because we are about to get top 100 and all we have to do is win this last war, y'all. We just super proud of my guild for everything they're done. They're already doing expedition level 3s. We just started this guild less than 3 months ago. We just started this season and we're potentially about to get top 100 and we're already doing all expedition level 3s. I'm really proud of them. Shout out to Kingsworn. Shout out to y'all. Quick shout out. I'll go back to talking about updates. I also need to drink more water because last time I did this and I didn't drink water, I lost my voice for a whole week and it was not a fun experience. Ray, the thing about it is there's a lot of other counters to control, right? So that's a really good point to the conversation. And also to Yanbin, also kind of getting to the conversation of should a new player pull for her, right? Emma Lilibet is going to be always a good counter to control. As long as she exists, control needs to be scared. They'll have to use their prevent on her. There are already a lot of other counters to control. So she's not necessarily a must-have unit. But she is going to be strong. And she's not going to be just against control. She's just overall another good bruiser option. Think of a unit like A Ravi. A Ravi has a really good S3 that can revive and has very tanky stats. She will be tankier than A Ravi as far as defense goes, has the potential to silence, and can cut into debuff teams. So she's definitely going to be in the meta. She's definitely going to be strong over time and will be kind of a check to control units. So there's a lot of units, right? And especially if DJB gets a buff, there's a lot of units to counter control, which is why I don't necessarily think that she is a must pull, right? Necessarily. Is she good? Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you guys she's bad. She is by no means a bad unit, right? A Tywin being so good in the meta, she does extremely well against A Tywin. And as long as A Tywin's meta, she will be meta. As long as Cerise is the meta, she will be meta because she can remove those debuffs, remove the restricts, come in, cleanse the restricts. She'll be a good counter to Cerise. She'll be a good counter to a lot of the units that are right now in the meta. But even to things like Falconeer Clury, they can't really lock her down properly, right? So all in all, if you're a player that struggles against control, she's a very good option, especially if you want a bruiser style, especially when if you run bruiser playstyle. If you're a player that plays aggro, it's really weird to pick her in there. How does she counter A Tywin? Because as long as your S3 is up, A Tywin cannot use his S3. If you have this unit on the board, A Tywin on the enemy team cannot use the S3. He has a slow on the S3, Ray. If he does S3, it's stun and slow, which is, it's going to be a bunch of debuffs on your team. A Tywin applies 8 debuffs. Yeah, she gets stunned, but then she also just cycles it out. That's the thing. So she can just cycle it out after a time win. She self-cleanses, y'all. She self-cleanses. Just remember, she's really good check to control. As long as she's on the board, a Tywin can't S3, which is huge. Right? Because as long as you hold on to your S3, a Tywin can't do it. So then you'll just lap the a Tywin and then smack him. The other thing is that she's dark, so you'll be able to kill the a Tywin because you're going to be doing extra damage against the a Tywin. A Tywin will not be able to do as much damage onto you. A Tywin is forced to provoke, so you'll be lapping, you'll be doing consistent damage. You'll be able to proc his passive with the silence on the S1. Very good counter to a Tywin, right? Very strong counter, and a Tywin is a very meta unit. So she will be a good option for that. But she's not going to be like if you pick her into like a Archdemon Mercedes, Last Rider Craw, General Purgus, Moonlight, FCC. She's not doing anything there, right? But if you're the player that's picking that into control teams, if they pick Bassar or someone like that, then she can be a pretty good option, right? For damage purposes. So overall, if you are a bruiser / tank player, you should highly consider pulling for her to counter control if you don't have your other control counters. It's just nice to have. I definitely want her because she's really good against control. She will always be relevant because there will always be some form of debuff in the meta. And she does pretty decent damage. It's just an overall strong bruiser. As far as if a new player should pull for her, as always, if you're a free-to-play player, there's no reason you should already have pulled for her. If you're truly free to play and you really want to get the most out of your money and your time and your resources, not money because you're free to play, you should not pull for a unit until the last week unless there's a really good 5-star in the rotation that you also want or you're very confident that you want to use them. Always wait for the next unit that's in rotation because what happens if next month is Arby, right? You never know. So always wait till the last week, see what's announced. For new players, I think it's kind of hard to build her. But what is nice for a new player is a lot of people in lower brackets love to abuse Cerise, and she's a good Cerise counter. Doesn't need immunity, which is hard to get when you're starting the game, and she doesn't need insane stats to do her job, right? You don't need insane FRES for her to do her job. So she's quite easy to build as far as to do her job as just counter control. So if you're a new player that's struggling against control, it's not a bad option. But if you're not struggling against control, you have other options, and you have reliable ways to deal with other units, it's not bad, right? It could be Spess or Sage next month, right? Yeah, see, people will always try to control you. So the thing about it, it's like, she's a really good control counter for early game players. Overall, though, you're not going to get as much mileage out of her as you would of other MO heroes because she is specific to counter a certain playstyle, right? Versus a unit like Arby is all situational. Or a unit like LQC, where Dark will always be meta, right? So there is a lot. Arby will probably not be coming for a while, I don't think. But just wait. There will be cool stuff, but I could see a lot of people, Ray, Control will always adapt. Control will always find a way. So the thing about it is she's a good unit right now because of the meta. She could fall off later on. Because she's a bruiser, bruisers are inherently hard to build properly, because people don't have the exact gear for them. They don't know how to use. She's a hard to use unit as far as skill gameplay. You can't draft her and expect it to work all the time. And people can't actually play around her. She's a skill unit, right? So it's a cool unit. I think it's good overall. But it is a skill unit. It is a unit that you can't just brain dead pick her and expect to win. If you've ever fought a good control player, you'll know this. Because if you fought against good control players, they know when to use their debuffs at the right time. Right? So that will make it so they can actually deal with designer a little bit. So not an end-all be-all to control, and it does take skill to use properly, right? So that's good. What other one requires skill? I can tell you not Last Rider Crawl. Last Rider Crawl does not need skill. Stena needs skill to an extent. Stena needs skill to an extent if you're wondering for units that need skill. Stena needs skill. Specimen Says is more luck than skill. A Ravi requires a ton of skill to use properly. A Ravi is probably one of the hardest units to use. Sage Ball, even though we love to hate on him, and he's one of the golden boys, he is actually hard to use as well. Because you need to know when to use S2, you need to know when to use S3, you need to know who to lock down, right? You need to know all this stuff, right? So there are hard to use MO heroes, right? Designer a little bit, one of those. Actually not an easy hero to use, You actually do need to know what you're doing with her and what team you're going to draft her in and have a proper build for her. So overall, I would not recommend it to new players. Is she going to be good? Yes. Is she going to be a unit that you will see often? Yes, absolutely. Is she going to destroy the game and make everything crazy? And it will be, if you don't have Emma Lilibet, you're screwed for life? Not necessarily, right? Emma Crawl won't show up in Coin Shop for a very long time because he's a very new unit. We still have a lot of old units to go through before we get to Last Rider Croft. Yeah, she's most likely a 4th and 5th pick. So overall, not a bad pull. I am going to be trying to pull for her, of course, because she looks great. The art is great. I'm a control player, right? So because I'm a control player, I'm inherently forced to pick this unit. So I have it to take it away from my opponent because I'm not going to pre-ban her. I don't think she's a must pre-ban unit for control. But I do want her to take it away from my opponent if need be, or if I need it for certain situations. Did you manage to put your own face as the rep hero? I don't know if I did. But yeah, I am going to try to pull for her. I think she's cool. I think she has a lot of potential as a unit. She seems fun, which is an important part of the game, you know, is having fun. She seems fun. She seems like I'll enjoy using her. I like booster playstyle. I like control boostering. So I'll definitely try to pull for her. If I don't pull for her, I'm not going to be heartbroken over it like I was with Last Rider Crawl. I'll just be like, sucks, but it'd be like that sometimes, right? So that's my thoughts on her. Overall, not a bad unit. Let's just look at the skill. I realized I didn't even talk about the skills. I just talked about whether or not you should pull for her. Pull 1, all right. Y'all really gonna make pull the 1? I always like to wait for the X10 because I feel like X10 has higher odds for some reason. Even though all my MLs before this were from X1s. All right, X1. Let's see it. Nothing. But yeah. Not bad, right? So, all in all, pretty good unit. And I will force myself not to do this expedition, even though I'm so tempted to because I'm an expedition alcoholic. Let's go look at Emma a little bit. And I said we're done with expeditions. But all right, let's actually look at the skills. I realized I didn't even talk about the skill set, right? Why lifesteal makes so much sense. You're probably looking at this and be like, what the heck? Do I have more expo? I did a lot of talking about expo, but I'll do it later. But okay, this will start at 50%. What's really cool about her pass... Oh, I don't have any right now. I'll probably be farming more later. But what I really like about her S1 is that it gives you 25%, which is actually a lot. Like, this gives 25 fighting spirit. This means every 4 turns, even if the opponent doesn't have debuffs, you just get a random CR push. That's great. I think units that CR push are so great. See that? Like, we just used this skill 4 times. Like, pluck. 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 Boom, CR push. Right? That's kind of cool. And then with the S3 is even faster, right? Because the S3 gives you 50. And the animation's so cool, dude. People say it looks like Persona 5. But if you look at the animation, it's really, really cool. Really, really solid. Gives you 50, which means that it only takes 2 more turns for you to get the rest. So, by the way, I can't hear it because I have it muted for myself, but not for y'all, so y'all can hear it. Arby always taunts me. Yes, Arby does always taunt me. You don't like Lilibets? I like regular Lilibets. I haven't heard hers in a while. I didn't hear Emma Lilibet's too much. Her ultimate does have a cooldown. So, again, this is one of the reasons she's a skill unit, is because if you use this ultimate early, you are so screwed against a control player. If you use this ultimate early, and then they still have like their A Tywin live, but you already used the S3 on the Cerise, you're done for, right? Because now they can just A Tywin you. So it's one of those things. This is the reason why she's a skill unit, because if you use this at the wrong time, you messed up, right? You want to hold on to this because if they use Cerise, you get free cycling. It's actually better to not use the S3 against the Cerise, actually, because if you don't use this against the Cerise and then they still have like an A Tywin, not only do you get to hold on for this, you're also just slapping the opponent. Right? Does that make sense to y'all? Why that's a skill, something that will come from playing the unit, and why she's a skill unit? Because let's say you use Cerise A Tywin. Very common combo is the combo that I use. If I open with Cerise S3 and you just bop your S3, this is gone. I'm free to control you now. You're completely free to control. A Talon half immunity. The higher you go up, they have immunity. I have my A Talon on immunity. You kind of need your A Talon on immunity now. For sure. It used to already be something you should already have in your A Talon. Now it's a must-have because of her. My Talon's in immunity, right? Most are going to be on immunity now. And because of that, if you bop this early, you are super susceptible to control, and you're missing out on a ton of turn cycling with your Bruiser. Because if you decide to just do the S1, you get 25%, and then the rest of your team still has the Cerise debuffs. That's 6. That's going to give you 30% every time your opponent takes a turn. That's going to be like this. You're going to be taking so many turns. Your opponent's going to be like, why is this happening? And then they're forced to hold on to the A Talon S3, and the A Talon becomes useless. That's a skill, right? That's a player being skilled and knowing how to use them a little bit properly, right? Because the passive gives you 50%, gets a ton of CR push though. So hopefully that makes sense. Patch notes should be tomorrow, Nyla. Like in like 8 hours or so. So not super soon, but it should be within the next hour. 8 to 10 hours usually. They usually post it at 8 a.m. in Central Time. But okay, that's them a little bit. Again, is she OP broken, the most busted unit you'll see in your life? No. Is she a unit that does her job well and can go further and beyond? Yes. Yes, I also count the drafting phase in difficulty. Because if you don't know how to draft a unit properly, they're useless. So, all in all, not bad.
I'll see you later.
Right? So, she does not decrease her cooldowns. That's why she only gets CR push. So you have to be careful when you use your S3. You have to hold on to it. People can still beat you using her. You have to know the unit well. It's a high skill unit. But okay, that's it for Emma Lilibet. I think I covered it well enough. And I'm about to release a video after this, kind of discussing it more in depth, as well as the other banner heroes. So overall, not bad. I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with her. She's good. She's not overpowered. I think it's a well-designed unit that is skill-based, which is nice, which means that in 2 months, you'll probably see people asking for a buff. Because every time there's a skill unit, you usually see people asking for buffs because they are not sure how to use them too well, and it's hard to use. So they'll most likely probably be asking for a buff in 1 to 2 months, especially when the meta moves away from control and more into Bruiser. She won't be seeing as much play. You'll definitely see more and more people being like, oh, we need buffs for her. But okay, let me go back to Hunts because we're going to be doing Ida next, who does not have a unit model and is actually going to be on the YouTubes. But yeah, overall cool unit. I would say that she's going to have metas. She's going to have metas where she's really good, and she's going to have metas where she's not so great. Right now, she's in the meta where she's really good. Right? In the future, they may not be her meta, and she maybe will need a buff. So we never know. You never know until after a while of playing a unit. And after the unit has run its lifetime.
We will destroy.
Lilibet does her job pretty well, but you can't rely. Yeah, exactly. How do you use point shop? Point shop or coin shop? Viseria is quite easy to use overall.
Sword.
Yeah, but a lot of people do think that way though. So she's a skill unit, which is good and bad. It does hold. She does have a niche, which does make it so she like Emil Hayes. When you think of Emil Hayes was good outside of just countering Arby, right? Emil Hayes is overall a really good unit, and because Arby is so prevalent, Emil Hayes is always gonna be prevalent as well in certain situations. But people thought he was too niche, but he's still a really good unit. So I believe Emma Lilibet will fall into Emil Hayes category. If you wanted me to make a comparison, I think she'll be in the same category as Emil Hayes, where she could have a meta where she's extremely powerful, like Emil Hayes had at the end of Season 1, but then she'll have metas, like right now, Emil Hayes is not that strong anymore. He's really good still to counter Arby, but he's more niche, but then it may come back, a different meta may come around, where he's, like Ruel comes back to being super strong, Emil Hayes will come back to being strong. I think she'll be in that category of Emil Hayes. But right now, Ida. I actually have not heard the voice line, so let me turn on the volume for myself as well as for you guys. And then we're going to talk about her. A lot of people seem to be disappointed in here. Oh, wait, I realized I need to mute my expeditions. There we go. Y'all need to hear me do it. Let me hear this. What's her voice quote sound like?
Curse me. The icy touch of death shall embrace you.
Not bad. It's alright. Why were the team back? I know, y'all. I changed it. I muted it. I got it this time. Glory for Akin. Dude, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. Furious. That's the one thing. There are times I will actually sit down and watch my Wyvern runs for like 4 or 5 minutes just to hear Furious say his quotes. And sometimes I'll turn it off as well. Adley, I think it's a very niche unit to counter cleave, but not bad option if you're a free-to-play player for Adley and want to flex on your opponent. Adley's not bad. But yeah, Wyvern 13, dude, I love the noises. I don't know why I love Furious so much. When he does like the little like the S2 and he gets like fight for Akin. It sounds so intense. And then like the S3 is like glory for Akin. Dude, I just love Furious. It's so cool. Furious is great. But Ida. So this one, I don't know why the community is so split on this one. I was actually a little surprised. I think most people can say that she's okay. She's not going to be broken or may not be broken, but it's also not going to be unusable. She seems okay, right? She seems all right for most people, but I don't know why. I feel like she has so much potential. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a control psychopath, right? Because I know every player that plays control is a psychopath. Because why would you submit yourself to so much RNG every day? You have to enjoy molding. All control players mold. It's a fact. If you've ever gone to the stream of a Bruiser player, they're chill. They're chilling. They're just like, oh man, RNG sucks sometimes. Control players are like, F this, bro. Why did that not hit? It's just control players. I feel like we're just psychopathic. But I think she's good in a control standpoint. I don't know why I'm so excited for her. Maybe it's because I'm so worried about Emma Lilibet. Maybe it's because I have a Specimen Cess, and I feel like there's a lot of potential there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just feel like she has a lot of hidden potential. When the ratios come out as well, are the ratios out? Let me check this. I'm really curious on this one. I'm actually really curious on this one. She is out. All right. So let's look at the skills, and then we'll look at the damage calculator, because I'm actually kind of curious on the ratios, right? Even though I'm probably going to use her as a bruiser. I know that sounds weird, but the first thing I saw when I saw her kit and her stats, I was like, is this a control bruiser? I don't know why. I feel like I'm going to use her as a control bruiser, whereas most people are going to use her full control, or they're going to use her full DPS, right? Because her speed's not fast, so I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just weird that I like her stats. I'm a huge fan of the stats. That's a big one. All right, so let's look at the stats. I am a huge fan of these stats. I think this stat line is actually one of the best stat lines you can have on a mage, for like her type of unit. She's very waifu for sure. That's like a guaranteed. But I just really like her. I know it's probably a bait banner, but I still really like her. As far as stat line, I think it's really good. She has really good starting crit rate, which scales off with the whole kit. So again, it helps her the kit. It helps make her easier to build. The effectiveness, again, really nice. It makes it easier to build. If I, for some reason, pull multiple copies, I get a little bit of extra effectiveness. This means I don't have to give her an effectiveness ring, right? Because am I really going to be trying to hit FRS units? Probably not. I'm already not going to be able to hit Race. I'm already not going to be able to hit Destinas and like all these Earth ones or like all these high FRS units. There's no reason for that, right? For me to give her a ton of effectiveness. But it's nice that she can have some, so like those lower effectiveness units like Crow can't resist it, right? So that's nice. This already really good. Really cohesive, which is what I like about it. It's very cohesive. The defense, like every mage, pretty good. For a mage, the HP, again, it's pretty good. For a mage, it's not terrible. For an overall unit, it's not great. But for a mage, it's pretty nice, right? The speed is on the low side, but I'm not planning to make her a unit that takes turn 1. I don't think that's what she was meant to be. But I know people are going to make her be that. Right? People are definitely going to try to make her really fast. And when you think about it, y'all have seen the 290 speed Bazaars that the Asia server made? Because there are 290 speed Bazaars out there. If you put that exact same set on Ida, she's 288. it is slow, but if you really want to make it work, it'll work. And hey, howdy, Sophia. But yeah, if you want to make it work, you can definitely make her extremely fast, right? And then on top of all that, she has really good attack stat. So I'm really curious on the ratios because now you can actually get really high attack. But yes, they are not horns. It is her staff, by the way, Izanagi. Yeah, you can easily make units be dummy fast, right? So there will definitely be really fast ones. But what I like about the stat line is the versatility. Whenever someone picks this unit in RTA, it means you have no idea what build they're going for, which I think is amazing. I think that's great. I love units like that. I love units that don't reveal too much, that can be spice picks, that can be moved. Which background music is legit? Is it still Wyvern noises? It shouldn't be. Is it still Is Wyvern still playing for y'all? Is Wyvern still playing for y'all? Does it just not work? Unless I have everything muted? That makes me really sad. I just realized that the Wyvern music is probably still playing. Let me know if it's still playing Wyvern. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, I thought for some reason it was. Okay. Yeah, there's no music. Yeah, it's. All right, let me put some background music. Let me get some background music, some chill beats, royalty free, and we can continue talking about it. I just wanted for the expedition one to be a little bit better. All right. This one should be okay. Alright, that should be working now. Okay, let me know if it's too loud, as always. Okay. Oh, man. I appreciate it. But okay, as far as the... What do you think the new IP is going to be? We're going to get to that as well soon. But, alright. Going back a little bit to her. I think her stat line is amazing, right? I think I already put that across. I think the stat line is great. I think it just works really, really well. I think it has so much potential, right? Then there's the S3. This S3 has a lot, actually. Like, the fact that it's just a stun is actually good. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a stun. Atalman also applies slow. Broman applies silence and does a full team strip and does all this and that. But I actually am a fan that it's only a stun. Because the thing about it is units like Champ C and now I'm a Lilibet are not going to be able to counter her as easily. In a way, it's actually good that it's only a stun. Quote unquote. Only a stun. That is AoE and it's 4-turn cooldown, which is pretty standard for an S3 at this point. Most S3s are 4-turn cooldown. Hey, again, thank you, Auxiliary, for renewing. I really appreciate it. But it's good, right? It's an AoE skill. It's nice, right? It's I like that it's just a stun. I don't think that if it had more. And then the crit rate, this is cool too. It gives her counterplay and it gives her potential. Counterplay because if you put Earth Heroes, you're likely to miss your crit because you can't hit them. But it makes it nice because it actually sets up into combos a lot easier. So you're playing control combo or control cleave. This sets up really nicely, the S3. So it's good. I like it. It's cool. Then there's the S2. That I feel like people are underestimating the skill. I look at this skill and every time I think about it, I'm like, this is nuts. It's really good. Especially just because of the fact that you can use Crown, right? This skill will not be good if it wasn't for Crown. This is really cool because the thing that it does is that it allows you to strip and stun and push back. Imagine if Dizzy had Lila Violin all the time, but had if Lila Violin stripped before the stun with Dizzy. And on top of that, push back. Imagine if Dizzy, every time she took a turn, pushed you backwards and stripped the buff and stunned you. You guys would think Dizzy would be broken. You guys would be like, that's crazy. If you soul burn it, this has 0 cooldown. That is so toxic, dude. Every single turn, you're pushing them back 15%, 15 to 30, right? 15 to 30, you're stripping, you're stunning. Super consistent, super spammable, super solely. And because it's AoE, you slap on a crown, you're stunning. Think about that. Versus like, even if they put like a Last Rider Crawl. Last Rider Crawl gets to set up, okay, cool. Last Rider Crawl set up, let me strip your immunity. I don't know why, maybe I'm just crazy, right? Maybe I'm just crazy. But a lot of people are like kind of ripping into her and saying she may be unplayable and that she's just, other units do her job a lot better. But I think she's unique and I think she has potential. Yes, I'm a Spec player, so that's why I see this as so much potential. Consistent strips can be really annoying in RTA. Consistent stuns can be really annoying in RTA. Consistent pushback, the amount of turn advantage that you lose. Right? I don't think she's a must pull yet, but I think she's really good. The problem is the collab is coming in June and the GG collab is being rerun next month. And something tells me they're going to add I Know to the GG collab. I don't know why. I maybe just be speculating, but I feel like they're going to add I Know for some reason. They might not. Right? They may not. Probably not. But you need to be ready for the rerun, for the GG collab. If you already have all the units for GG collab, like me, oh yeah, I'm definitely pulling for Ida. Right? The actual collab is going to be in June. That's still like in 2 months. I have way enough time to get the resources needed in 2 months. Right? I'm not worried about getting that. But I am really excited about Ida. Right? I like her. I'm a fan. I play RTA. As a new player, I would say that there are more impactful banners than her. Because I don't see her having too much of a PvE presence at all. And usually when you're an early game player, Yambin, like yourself, you don't want to focus too heavily on PvP units unless they're absolutely broken, like Arbiter Vildred or like other units that are just really strong, right? Like Basar. Like there's some must pull PvP units that you will want to pull for, but she's not a must pull PvP units. And you need to save for GG collab, Yambin. You need to. GG units are still good. Baiken is still the only unit that can one-shot Banshee. Dizzy has definitely fallen off. She's not what she used to be, but it's still a nice option to have. And really good in lower elos. And really good for PvE. Like, this is amazing. Right? So, when they announced the characters for GG Strive 2, what's the last time? I think Ino's coming, had her sprite done. Yeah, I think Mimika, I agree with you. I think Ino is coming, so I might have to save a little bit. But I'm not super worried, right? I'm not like super worried. I'm a little bit worried. But I want to get Ida, ideally. So I'd be excited. I think the collab will be a triple banner with Elfel, Baiken, and Dizzy. I don't see the reason why they wouldn't do that. It was pretty successful. I'm sure they made a ton of money on it. For all the people, and I know I'm getting the miscom file, but Yambin, I would not pull for her just because you need to be pulling for the collab, because they're limited units and there's a ton of really good resources, and she's not a type of unit that will make or break an account, right? So I'm not a whale, I'm a dolphin, so if I really want a unit, I will spend money for them. But for example, like for Polides, I put 40 bookmarks into it. I didn't get it. I'm not gonna spend on it. I don't like try super hard onto anything. If you want to know about how much I spend a month, I mean, it could vary. Usually, I try to keep it below $200, with some months not even spending a penny, right? So I guess it's an overgrown fish. It's not a whale because whales buy equipment packs. I do not buy equipment packs. I only buy the specialty packs and monthly packs. If that's what you want to know, where I would use money. So for example, this month, I didn't spend anything because there's no... Well, I did in February, but March, there's not going to be any pack, so I'm not spending this whole month, right? Because even though there's equipment, there's small packs, I'm not going to spend for that, right? I'm going to wait until an actual pack comes around that's actually good and value. But I do buy the monthly packs. So that's if you're interested, I'm not free to play. I'm not going to pretend I'm free to play. But I'm also not like a whale, but I also do spend a decent amount. So special packs and monthly packs might as well. That's not free to play. That's nothing. But like in the grand scheme of things, oh, okay, yeah, that's the one time I'll wail. I will admit I did well for FCC. I'm not gonna deny that. I did well for FCC. It felt dirty. I'm not a fan, but FCC is a game-changing unit. Oh my goodness. But okay, let's go back to the unit. Y'all making me question my financial decisions. To be fair though, I use all the income that I get from YouTube back into the account or into events. So that's usually what I try to do. I try to get content for you guys so you guys can enjoy it, improve myself so I can get better content for y'all. That's why most of it goes into that. I needed FCC. I'm gonna be honest, I needed FCC, bro. Those $200 never felt so dirty, but but yeah, it's worth because I'm a content creator. If I wasn't a content creator, like on games that I don't make videos on, I play Guardian Tales. I play I've tried a ton of other gacha games. I don't spend on games that I don't do content on, if that makes any sense. Because it doesn't make sense, right, for me to spend on that. So oh my goodness. Was this the recent FCC? Yes. MQ, it was the recent FCC. Feels bad. I was not, Jake. I was actually 500 because I decayed super hard, and FCC actually helped me climb a lot faster. Once I got my things on lockdown, I climbed super hard. But yeah, all right. Going back to Ida, my financial situation is decent. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not a dolphin. I'm not a whale. I'm not free to play. But as far as Ida, I will pull for her because I will definitely be building her. I might actually try to rush build her for you guys before her banner is up so y'all can see some combos. And we can see some spicy stuff. So, it'll be nice. And Jake, that was before school started getting really heavy for me. Once school started getting really heavy for me, I was like, oof. Can't spend 4 hours in RTA to keep legend. So, but yeah, really cool S2. I think it's super underrated. So going back to Ida, sorry for the sidetrack conversation. But that's a King Blair classic. The S2, I just don't understand. Like, I feel like this is so unique and it has so much potential, and it could be really, really good in the right setup. That I don't know. I'm a fan, right? I'm a fan of Ida. I'm a fan of Ida. I think this Soulburn is really good. I think the S3 is really good. I think her synergy with Abyssal Crown is a little bit dirty because she has self-strip on a Soulburn, which means that immunity setters are not safe. I like that she's not overly high on debuffs because it makes it so Champ C doesn't necessarily counter her. And she looks really cool for control players. So, grass is a little bit rough on the side though. That is true. But yes, legend requires you to play a lot, and I don't have that type of time anymore. So overall, I like it. Now let's look at the damage ratios, because this is actually going to be the one that I'm actually really curious about. Damage ratio time. So let's see it. So Ida. Let's see it. So Ida, let's give her Abyssal Crown, so no artifact. Let's say you go for a full DPS build. So max damage, right? Like, let's say you decide to use her with Oxlots, right? Oxlots cleave unit, right? At that point, you probably wouldn't be using Crown. You'd probably be using, like, Portrait. Let's do this for sake of argument. And she'd have attack buff. Let's say no attack buff first. I'm surprised that it caps it for me. That's nice. That it didn't let you do it a bunch. So, nothing crazy with attack buff is not bad though. That's pretty good on attack. For a unit that's going to CR push you up. But this is against a squishy, so let's assume you're going against a cleave. So let's get that Aureus in there, and let's get that Adamant Shield. Just by a lot. Right, so maybe not the best cleave unit, right? Not crazy damage, but let's say you go more for a hybrid build, right? Kind of like what I'm gonna do. So Portrait would not be needed. So no artifact. Let's say 3,000 attack, 250 crit damage, no great increased attack. against a double knight like Oria's artifact, that's respectable. It's nice poke damage. For being every turn and being AoE, it's not actually that bad. And then if you're hitting fire, you're doing a little bit more too. So not terrible, right? Has some damage potential, has some poke potential. 2-3k is nothing to laugh at. Every single turn, that's pretty annoying actually. That's like good poke damage. Every turn you get to do 2-3k damage. It's more of poke damage than it is going to be full cleave damage. So she seems more like a poke mage, right? And this is very achievable. I've seen a lot of RC and Mercedes with these stats easily, if not better stats, and still super tanky. But yeah. Oh yeah, Symbol Unity would be interesting too. I think I personally I'm gonna do Abyssal Crown. Probably gonna drop this a little bit lower, maybe like to 20. I could probably hit 3k, maybe 200 damage, right? So it's respectable damage, right? This will kill a Champ C over time. As you spam this skill, you'll eventually kill Champ C, especially as Frenzy starts stacking. You'll be killing Champ C. I plan to build her around the range of like, has to be at least 220 because she has to outspeed my A-Tai one. At least 216. So at least 216 on immunity and speed, if not 230. Ideally it'd be 230, but most likely I would just put her at like 200, maybe 200, like probably 220, honestly, just so the combo's tighter, so like the combination's better. So not bad. I mean, nothing crazy, right? I'm not gonna tell you guys that this is crazy damage. She's a cleave unit. She's gonna be busted OP for cleave. It's respectable damage, but it's not super high, right? It's just poke. It's a nice little poke damage, right? We saw both different builds, and like on the different build, it was like 1k with an Oxlots. But if you're having us like a fast, if you're having like a fast build, I think you can actually get her to like something like this, which again is not insane amount of damage. But this is against Oria's and Adamant Shield, right? So if you take it off, of course it's gonna do more damage, significantly more damage actually, because Oria's Adamant Shield is just absolutely filthy. With no Oria's Adamant Shield is like 4k every turn. So not bad. Alright, so this is not bad. It's pretty easy. It's alright. The ratios aren't insane though. They're just okay. They're okay. I just like it because of the S2 stun and utility. I like the utility on her more than the damage. From what I did from this little calculation that we just did. I like the utility more than the damage. But yeah, that is Ida for you. Right? So I don't know if we're missing anything. Is there any update that I'm missing that we haven't talked about? In particular that we received. I guess arena season starting again. So that one is like right here, arena season. I am gonna try a little bit harder for arena this season. I do kind of want to try to get the side story really cute, kind of long, kind of drawn out. I don't think it was implemented well. I like the idea, but it wasn't implemented super well. These two I'll make a video about today. It'll be a super quick video, which is why I haven't made it yet. But yeah, designing a little bit, we already talked about. Pretty good, pretty nice. And I think that's it actually. This is a pretty big nerf, by the way. It's pretty huge, so it's nice. But yeah, it's not bad. Just looking at it, I think that's it. So I disagree with this comment. I'm not gonna read this because I'm just gonna get shook. Oh yeah, that's a problem I didn't talk about. Alright, I said I was done with expedition talk, but there's another problem we have to talk about. I completely forgot about this one, and it is a pretty big problem for newbies. This is something that newbies need to know about. So to all my newbies in chat, if you're a newer player, this is something that is concerning as far as newbies, and I really hope they implement something for this. So one of the problems with the new expedition update, quite a big one too, but yeah, I want to get the frame for sure. I want to try to get it for sure. Also, MQ, I usually use Ross and Ravi and then a healer. I use Royale, but you can use any other healer. Ras Robbie destroys the FCC T-Surin defenses. I have yet to lose a single one. So that's the one I use. A lot of other people just use Bazaar, but I don't like that it's not as consistent. It's consistent, but it's scary if they have a really fast T-Surin, right? Unless you have a really good Bazaar, then it's no big deal. Because no T-Surin is going to outspeed a 260 speed Bazaar. It has to be the craziest T-Surin I've seen to outspeed a Bazaar. But I will definitely be pulling for Ida. So that one's for Ida. I'll definitely be pulling. I think she has potential. I don't know why I like her so much. I could be wrong. But all right, going back to the expedition discussion. And at any point, if you have questions on the expedition discussion, let me know. Pro Horizon story was really cute. I should do the Pro Horizon story. I have to decide which ones I want to do. But okay, as far as the problem for expedition, because friends and guilds are so important right now, I cleared my list of anyone that I knew that couldn't kill Expedition 3s. And when you started the game, when you were first starting Epic 7, right? One of the things that always people struggle with is 10-10, right? Clearing 10-10. That's always, how do I clear this adventure stage? And veteran players would usually be like, hey homie, I got you. Just add me as a friend. No problem. Just use me as a rep. You can clear all this content, easy peasy. And a new player could actually build a pretty good repertoire of good players to add on their friends list, right? And it'd be pretty nice. But with this new update, there is zero incentive for anyone to help a newbie player, which I think I know it's a small problem, but I think it's something that we need to talk about, and it's something that a lot of people aren't talking about. Is the problem with the friendship system. And I know it doesn't affect like 90% of the people that watch my videos, but it does affect that 10%, and that all those new players that are coming in, no one's gonna add them as friends. No one. They will never have a good rep. They will not get into a guild that can do Expedition level 3 early. Like, it's really sad, right? It's just like, that's a really big problem that Smage, I think hindsight probably didn't think about and hasn't addressed. It just feels terrible. Like, I felt terrible removing some of my newbie friends, and I know if I ever get a free spot and a newbie adds me, I'm not gonna add that newbie. It's a problem I feel like we need to talk about, and I know this is something I'll probably just make a Reddit post. I know it's bad, but I feel like no one's talking about it. And it's a problem that needs to be addressed. I don't know how they're gonna do it. There's a lot of systems you can do. They can do a buddy system, so new players can add other players as a buddy. The veteran players would get energy every time the newbie logged in, and the newbie players would get to use an OP rep, right? That'd be cool, right? And each newbie gets like 5, each veteran player gets like 5, right? That'd be fine. And then that way it's like separate from the friends list. I think that'd be a really cool mentor system. Yeah, a mentor system would be amazing. I think that would fix a problem of the friends list. But this fact that Smage, it was not even on the radar. It didn't even seem like that was a feature that they are even considering in any other streams or any other discussions. That's a problem that it's just completely like over their heads, right? It's slightly concerning. I don't know if they've talked about it, but I feel like they need to do that. Also, overall, just the friendship system, I had like a million, like, I know early game players would probably like look at this and be like, what the heck, how do you have so much? But like, when I go to the shop, for the friendship shop, it's just like, it's kind of disgusting actually. Let me see, like, look how much friendship I have. It's a disgusting amount. I know it's a distant issue, but it's important because the thing about it is new players come in every single day, and with the collab being right around the corner, it's huge, right? It's just sad. Let's just put it that way. It's just sad. It's just sad. Dude, I don't know. I've used a lot. I've used 10,000 one time. I really wanted to refresh shop for a unit, and I used my friendship like it was candy. And I think I've used like, I just sat down one day and I think I did 500 summons just to sell for gold. I don't know how, dude. What do y'all use it on? I don't have like there's why for gold. It's just so annoying to have to sell it all the time. I don't know. Maybe that's just my problem. Maybe I should just sit down one day and just burn through all of it and get a ton of gold or a ton of 2 stars. I only use it when I need 2 stars. It's when I'll go in. I'm like, oh, let me just roll real quick. But I don't know why I have so much energy or so much friendship points. I do that too, but the thing about it is like I already have so much just from farming the storylines for Catalyst. So, but yeah, that's all I wanted to say for that expedition. I am really sad about the friendship thing with like newbie players. It's just sad, you know, that you OP friends are really good, and it's always nice to have OP friends, but it's always nice for newbies to have OP friends as well, but they won't get it, and it's rough for new players. I also don't farm as much 6 stars as other players do, which is why I probably struggle so much with Catalyst and why I struggle so much with all this other stuff. For having played the game for 2 years, I don't have that many units actually 6-starred. Like if I actually go through, I feel like players that have been playing for like a year have more 6-stars than I do. Okay, there's no way I'm counting this. It's over 50. That's all I know. It's over 50. That's all y'all need to know. It's over 50, which for having played the game over 2 years, that's a 6-star a month. That's about my rate. It's a 6-star a month. I mean, I guess that's fine, right? That's not bad. But the thing about it is I've started playing the game from day 1, so I've been playing for 2 months. So it's like, for having played the game for like over 2 years. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, it's a good idea. 61 6-stars. Yeah, it's about a 6-star a month. So my rate of 6-star in units is about a 6-star a month. That's a standard rate for most people. It's 6 a month. It's 1 a month. Out of these, usable is probably like 50%. The other 50% is units I don't use, and then units that. So realistically, I only have 40 usable units. It's just 1 a month. Mac, I agree. I like the update for sure, but I know a lot of people are very salty about it. It's Reddit things. It's Reddit things. Oh wait, it's 12 months in a year. Oh shit, I can't do math. It's getting late. That's how I know it's starting to get late. That's how I know it's starting to get late. It is a little bit more. It's like a 2. It's 2. My bad. I was doing the math based on 24 months in a year, which is super stupid. It's 2 a month. 2 a month. Thanks for letting me know. I do 2 a month. Sorry, correction. I do about 2 a month. So, Watcher Shuri or Alencia. It depends on your playstyle. Alencia is great for bruisers. Watcher Shuri is amazing for one-shots and cleave. Bro, it's starting to get late. But yeah, let's see. Did I miss anything? Did I miss any content update? Anything y'all want to talk about? Oh yeah, patch preview tomorrow. I don't want to speculate too much. I'm gonna leave y'all with some hot takes before I finish the stream. So for tomorrow's update, the Korea live stream hinted that DJ Bazaar would be one of the units getting a buff. So DJ Bazaar very likely to get a buff. So I'm happy because I'm a DJ Bazaar owner. That's also, and my DJ Bazaar is imprinted. So if it's a good buff, I'll be sad because my A Tywin will be sad, and because I'm a control player, I'll be sad as well because it's another tool to counter control teams. But if it's like, but at the same time, hey, I do have this guy that has some molas in him, right? A little bit of mola, almost fully awakened, imprinted. So not bad, right? So I do expect DJ people hint. The Korean live stream hardly hinted very like they basically say DJB is the one that's getting the buff, and then I think the other unit will most likely be made Chloe. because that's the unit that usually they take a unit that everyone complains about and the unit that's not as complained about. Not as many people complain about DJB, but a lot of people complain about Maid Chloe. So I think it'll be buff DJB and Maid Chloe for the MLs. It makes sense. As far as buffs, DJB just needed a stab boost. If they give him more than a stab boost, he could be extremely dangerous. If they give DJ Basar, yeah, DJ Basar already has a role to play. If they make him more than a stab boost, he could potentially go from a good unit to broken. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually balance him if they just don't give him a straight stab boost. Which I think they'll just give him a straight stab boost. But we'll see, right? Maybe change the scaling to HP. That'd be nice too. If they change DJ Basar to scale with HP and added some FRES stats, he's golden. He doesn't need anything else. So he doesn't need a lot. He just needs a small stat boost and change the scaling to HP. That's it. That's it. You fix DJ Basar. You fix the attack scaling, you fix DJ Basar. Easy. He doesn't need anything big. But if they decide to overbuff, he could be insane. Because his S3 is already freaking stacked, dude. If you guys looked at S3 on DJ Basar, it's absolutely bonkers at what it does. It's like one of the strongest S3s in the whole game. It's actually insane what it does. I actually think it's one of the best skills in the game. Like S3s in the game. Where is he? His S3 is a full team cleanse, right? And a 30% CR push. And you drop 3-turn immunity on top of that? That's crazy. That's a really good skill. That legit is like control bye-bye. That's like 30% CR push. I'm taking turn 1, right? It's super good skill. It's such a good skill. It's such a good skill. So I could see them. As far as it is the full opposite of Basar's S3, which is another really strong S3 in the game. Basar arguably has one of the best S3s in the game as well. So they're all up there. As far as what's the face of it? RGB units getting a buff. They usually do 2 to 3 5-stars RGB. I really think Elfelt has a chance to be one that receives the buff because she's about to get a rerun. It would create a little bit more hype around the GG collab if Elfelt were to be buffed. So I would not put it past them for them to buff Elfelt. I could really see an Elfelt buff for sure. The other RGB 5-star is Mort. I really do think they may buff Mort. He's been out for some time. He has not done anything significant and is not doing anything. Even though it's his meta right now, right? It's all tanks. Not doing anything yet. I think for him, a consistency boost and a damage boost, that's all he needs. Mort's kit is fine. He just needs an attack boost and a consistency boost. But I could see Mort. I could see Elfelt. I could see Cess to an extent. But I think Cess is more of a EE. I think they're just going to wait for Cess a little bit longer and just give him an EE. Because Cess has gotten buffed at least once, if not more. Oh yeah, like the video. Yeah, like the video, subscribe if you're enjoying. I know a lot of people usually taper off because it's getting further down. We got past all the cool stuff. Alpha, I could see. Araminthia, she just needs a whole rework. I don't know what they're going to do to her. She just needs a rework. She's so tragic. They could overbuff her, so it could be nice. So she would be cool. Who else would be a really cool? Who could I really see getting a buff like recently? Those two are like the high demand ones that everyone wants them to get a buff. Sino would be really cool as well. I would really like Sino getting a buff. I don't think it will happen, but I would like Sino getting a buff. That's the big one. And I think the other ones, there's no unit that's like makes sense for them that people have been clamoring. I could see them buffing Violet. That's a big one as well. That Violet is like the unit that no one is asking for, but Smilegate just likes to drop in there. Right? And with Violet having the skin, I could see Violet definitely getting the buff. And it would be great. Sino buff would be great. Violet buff, I would really enjoy because the skin looks so good. The skin actually looks just amazing. Like the skin is just actually just gorgeous. Right? Like it's not out yet, but it just looks so good. I could see them buffing Violet because of the skin and because he's just a cool unit overall. I could see those, right? I could see that. I could see... Who else could I see them buffing? Chloe's not great, but she's really good for Wyvern. I wonder if she's not bad for Expedition, actually. Question, does Magic Nail land on Expedition? I guess because she doesn't have a decreased defense, it takes a slot or someone that does. That's probably why no one uses her. Cool debuff, but it doesn't have a decreased defense. I could see that. Fire Ken, maybe. Elena would be cool, but I doubt they do. Chu, I don't think anyone cares for Chu, so I don't think they'll buff Chu. But they might, just because they like to do their own game balancing as well. Smilegate's balancing system is just absolutely weird. Like, they buffed Silk, which is just like, okay. I could actually see them, for the 4 stars, I could see a Sino buff. Actually. The reason why is because they're putting out so many counters to control, they're going to buff control units. And Sino is a control unit. The only reason they may not is because he kind of is just a budget version of the units coming out next week. He legit is the unit next week, but just worse. This is Ida. Ida as a 4-star. Oh, Serrato, not Sino. I'm so sorry. It's words are starting to blend together. Serrato. I could see Serrato getting a buff. Not Sino. I could see Sino for sure. But he's legit just a worse version of Ida. It's sad. There's a lot of 4-stars that need buff. I cannot predict the 4 stars. Almost 50% of the 4 stars could receive buffs. Kawana might, maybe. Just because she fits well into fire. Maybe make her skills AoE or something. I don't know. 4 stars are always kind of up in the air. Ammo 4 stars. The only one that really needs one is Roaming Warrior Leo. All the other ones are actually, like, they fit in their niche. Oh, Assassin Cartuja. I want to see Assassin Cartuja and Roaming Warrior Leo for the MO 4 stars. These are the 2 for the MO 4 stars I would like to see. For MO 4 stars, either Assassin Cartuja or Roaming Warrior Leo. That's it. But the other, like the RGB 4 stars, it's super random. They could decide to buff any unit that they want. Maya was like, no one expected Maya. But there's just so many that need it. There's no way to predict. Or even speculate. Because it's just a bunch of them needed. Right? So, not bad. But for the MLs, I would like to see Assassin Cartuja or Roaming Warrior Leo. But yeah, that's the big one. Sam B, that'd be crazy. Sam BZ. But alright. I need to end the video because the stream, it's not a video. I do need to make a video for the worth it for the current banner heroes, and I still have to put that out before I go to sleep, and I haven't slept in a very long time. So yeah, I'm gonna be ending the stream here. If you liked, make sure you like, subscribe, join the Discord server, all that good stuff. I have a lot of really good content lined up for you guys this week. It's gonna be heat. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be good PvE guides, good PvP guides. Because you know this is a PvP channel, it's an RTA channel. But I think part of being good at RTA is being good at expeditions and good at PvE, right? So if you want to be a good RTA player, you also need to be a good PvE player. It's just kind of, it goes hand in hand. So yeah, a lot of good guides coming up. And hope you all are excited. So make sure you subscribe for that if you're not already. But that's all I got for you guys today. And I will see y'all next time. Peace.